All right, guys. So, I understand that, certain people have opinions about Caitlyn Jenner because of her lifestyle. But to a certain point, I can relate to Caitlyn Jenner because Caitlyn Jenner coming out and having an opinion about trans girls competing in sports has triggered the left. Okay? Now you have a bunch of people on the left trying to tell trans people the same way they try to tell black people what is okay to think and believe. Right? It almost seems like, again, they want to use your identity to push their narrative as long as you're saying the things they want you to say. But all of a sudden, your identity is not important anymore to them if you're not pushing the narrative that they want you to push. And one leftist who I thought she was leaving the left, right? I thought she wasn't going to be a progressive anymore. I thought she allegedly got red pill. Sarah Silverman went on this rant about Caitlyn Jenner, right? And her, saying that, she doesn't think that trans women should compete with biological women in sports. Take a look.
I saw Caitlyn Jenner saying trans girls should not play girls' sports. Caitlyn, you're a woman, right? A trans girl is a girl. She should have the same rights as cis girls. If you think a trans girl, you think a trans girl is too strong? What about tall girls as opposed to short girls? What about boys in high school who are teeny tiny and their teammates have already hit puberty and are shaving? Why don't you just have co-ed sports divided by weight or height? This is so dumb. They are legislating this shit without one single example of how this plays out. This is not worrying about girls' sports. Believe me, I think there are better ways to worry about girls' sports. This is not worrying about, this is not what that is. This is not worrying. This is not concern for girls' sports. It's transphobia, full stop. It's just such a bummer when such a prominent trans woman is such a twat. It's like being Jewish right now and having the most recognizable Jewish names be Weinstein and Epstein. It's like super not awesome, but.
These people on the left really kill me with this stuff. First of all, if there's one person who would know, right, who would know about whether or not it's fair for biological boys or trans women to compete with biological girls in sports, it would be Caitlyn Jenner, who was formerly Bruce, an Olympic athlete. Caitlyn Jenner would know. She would know better than you would, Sarah Silverman. One, because she used to be an Olympic athlete when she was formerly identifying as a man, okay? But two, because what you're saying tells me that you're just not in touch with reality. Yes, men are built in a way. We have more muscle mass, stronger bone density. Okay? We have a biological build that lends itself to us having advantages over girls. Okay? Biologically. We just do. Okay? Men tend to run faster than girls. Men tend to lift more than women. They do. It matters. And again, guys, this is what bothers me about people on the left. It's like, y'all just don't want to acknowledge reality. It's like you just live in this crazy world where up is down and down is up. And it's like, we give you a little bit, right? We give you a little bit. There's very few people that I find that are transphobic, right? They just don't agree with the lifestyle, right? They just don't agree with the lifestyle. But we give you a little bit. I use the pronouns, not because I agree, but because I'm respectful. But when you start talking like this is what annoys me. This is what annoys me. Because you're just showing that you're not in touch with reality when you just don't acknowledge that, yes, there are biological differences. There are biological differences, okay? A lot of people don't want to see biological men competing in sports with women, particularly sports that are like combat sports, okay? Where a biological man will have a bigger hand, a bigger fist, trying to compete against a woman who has biological disadvantages. They're going to end up getting hurt. We don't want to see biological women getting beat up by biological men. That's domestic violence, right? We call that domestic abuse, right? We focus on that problem for a reason, okay? Now, she also talked about, well, why don't we just separate out co-ed sports by weight and height? And I'm like, because there are atomical differences between men and women, okay? I am 200 pounds, unfortunately, right? I'm trying to get down to like 160, 170, but I'm 200 pounds. A 200-pound man is going to be able to lift more than a 200-pound woman 99.9% of the time, okay? A 200-pound man is going to be able to run faster than a 200-pound woman 99.9% of the time. Again, Caitlyn Jenner would be an expert in that. She would know. Men tend to have more muscle mass, and body fat distribution tends to be different between men and women, right? Women tend to hold more fat in their abdomen areas, okay, around the midsection of their bodies and in their thighs and in their hips, and men tend to not hold as much fat in those areas. If you ever looked at a body fat percentage chart between men and women, a man, for example, tends to carry less fat generally in regards to an overall percentage of their body weight, okay? So a man, they can get down to 4 or 5% body fat and be fine, okay? Probably not for too long, but, you know, I'm just saying. But for a woman to get down to 4 or 5% body fat, she would be damn near dead. It's almost impossible. These are things that you're born with, period. You're born with them. Whether you want to accept that or not, it doesn't matter. Again, you would know this stuff if you took a basic biology class, a basic Google search. There are 6-foot+ women in the WNBA that can barely dunk. A lot of them just can't dunk. Okay, that's why some people have suggested to make the WNBA more exciting, they should probably lower the height of the goal. But there are people in the NBA, or there are people that have been in the NBA that's less than 6 foot in height. It's not a lot of people in the NBA that can easily dunk. I mean, you got boys on the high school basketball teams that can easily dunk below 6 foot. But I haven't seen any girls in high school that are dunking unless they're extremely tall. I've never seen it, right? Because there are differences. I don't want to see a woman out there on an NFL football team just because she weighs about the same as somebody else on the football field. Again, a 120-pound running back that's a male is going to run over a 120-pound linebacker that's a woman. She's going to get ran over every single time. There are performance differences. We know this. These are facts. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. And these are the same people that are always hooping and hollering about women's rights. Except when it comes to the right of a woman to compete in a sport against other women, biological women, in a way that's going to be fair for them. These people that take this position that biological men should compete with biological women are anti-woman. They really are. Accept the reality that there's differences. It's not that hard. And I'm tired of these people always trying to play these games, because I'm like, bro, I'm not even like some people where I'm just like, no, I'm just not going along with it, right? Like, I'm giving you a little bit of rope, right? I'm trying to be respectful, okay? Because I understand that, hey, people want to live whatever lifestyle they want to live. That's cool. I'm a live and let live type of person. I don't really care about what other people are doing. As long as you're not hurting me, you're not harming me, I don't care. But when you take it too far, when it gets to the point where you're taking me to Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff world, and you're sitting here trying to tell me up is down and down is up, that's when you lose me. I have no problem with transgender people competing against other transgender people, or competing in a sport based off their assigned sex. Okay? I'm not playing a language game with you guys. I'm not playing a language game. You're assigned sex. Anybody that's disputing that, right, that there are biological differences between men and women based off sex is not living in reality, and they should not be taken seriously when it comes to this subject. You should not be taken seriously. I'm not against the trans movement. I'm not. I'll say your pronouns. That's fine. I just want to be respectful. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. If it makes people happy for me to say that, cool, I'll say it. Whatever. It doesn't bother me. But when you take it to this level where you're just not acknowledging just basic facts, it's like, what's the point of even trying to debate with you people? Because it's almost like you just don't get it. But you don't want to get it. And it's funny how you're calling somebody who's a trans person transphobic. How is Caitlyn Jenner transphobic? Oh, she's transphobic because she doesn't agree with you. That's why. Guys, it goes to show these words, these labels like bigot, transphobe, racist, they have no meaning. The same way they try to call black conservatives black white supremacists. Because they don't want to call them racist, okay? Because they know that, well, that doesn't make sense because we think that racism is a power structure, and according to these people, white people have all the power in our society, so, you know, and black people helpless victims, so therefore, we can't call them racist, so we got to call them black white supremacists. This is what they do. At the end of the day, man, like, if you really care about trans rights, then you should let trans people have an opinion without chastising her for having an opinion that you don't agree with. Okay? I think that Caitlyn Jenner is more than qualified for her opinion to be much more valid than yours. She knows a lot more about sports and athletics than you do. Now, does she really believe that? I don't know. I hope she does. But at the end of the day, you should be promoting a diversity of opinion. That's what matters. It's okay for somebody else to have a different opinion than you. But apparently on the left, that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And really, at the end of the day, what happens is that you're making a lot of people on the right get more behind Caitlyn Jenner than they otherwise would, because they're seeing how much the left just is doing mental gymnastics trying to attack Caitlyn Jenner purely because she has different opinions than them. Because like I said, we've seen, oh, the whole trans rights thing goes out the window, right? The whole, oh, we're pro-trans thing goes out the window, again, when you don't fit with the narrative. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.